All right, it is 8:30:23, so we're one day short. We got 6 days left on this shrine. One day, I shouldn't say short. One day short on time, but one day late on our shrine showcase here. So we apologize. We're a teacher. We're back to school. Got a kid going back to school as well. Been a crazy week, so we're kind of taking a look at our schedule and seeing if we have to change things up. We do still want to pump out our shrine showcase opinions every week. So this is the, as we said, 829 shrine, but you got 6 days left to pick this up. So we do have what we have here. We've got three behavior IP perks. So these are ones that you can get in the shrine, but you also could use these eerie shards to buy the chapter or the character and unlock them with BPs. And then we have one Cheryl Mason that is from a licensed chapter. Those cost real cash, and we know that some people play pretty much free to play. They got the game free on Epic, or they bought it when it was on sale, spent $5 on the game, don't want to spend any more cash. And we also have people that, hey, payday's not coming around for a little bit. You don't have the cash right now. You're not buying extra chapters, or you're buying a few at a time when you can. Can't buy them all. We get that. So we'll let you know if we recommend grabbing the shrine or spend those eerie shards on full chapters to get one, two, three good perks rather than just one perk here. So we'll jump into them. We got some gen perks, and then we've got some interesting survivor ones. So we'll start here at the top with Overcharge. Overcharge is a doctor perk, and basically what it does is when you kick a gen, this effect applies, and it's got a couple effects actually. The first one is the next survivor that interacts with the gen gets a difficult, which means a tiny little skill check. Think DS or some other perks. If they miss that, then 4% loss right there from the missed skill check. So that's some good information there, right? If you have people missing skill checks, then you know where they're at. You know they're back on that gen. That's some good information there. The big part, though, which has been nerfed, but it's still the big part, is that when this is applied, when this perk is applied, generators start regression at 85% and go to 130% of normal. So they regress faster. So it's a gen regression perk, and it's also an information perk. And a lot of times when you're going to see this is in some of those impossible, we're doing our air quotes here, impossible skill check builds. Doc is one that gets a lot of use out of this because he's able to move around where the skill checks are. Difficult skill checks are harder to hit when you have no idea where they're showing up. And then you also see this on night sometimes as well. Maybe a little bit on Freddy. I've seen it, but the Knight and Dot are the ones you really see this perk on a lot. You could see it on some other ones as well. Anything that can kind of screw with placement or sound of skill checks, or just killers that are very mobile and can kind of push people off because everyone knows about 95% of the time when you get off a gen, the skill check happens then, and you have no way of hitting it. You're just left to deal with it. It's not that often, but it's too often for this game. But where we kind of would put this one, we've got our scale at the bottom. This is more of an off meta kind of build around me gen regression perk. You're gonna have to pair it up with some stuff that didn't used to be the case. It used to be a lot stronger, and well, maybe it did. You just threw it on with Call of Brine, and it was just absolutely wild. But it's more off meta, built around second choice. That brings us to our other gen perk here, which is the clown perk. Pop goes the Weasel, and this is just the stronger and more meta version. We'll put meta down then, but this one is just after you hook someone, that's the requirement. You got to hook someone. It's not like Overcharge where you can just kick the gens. Have to hook somebody first, then you have 45 seconds to kick a gen. Loses 30% of its progress. So this one's significantly stronger. It's definitely a meta perk, but it's got some requirements, right? Got to get downs, got to get people hooked, right? Tough to use sometimes on killers that don't necessarily hook. Sometimes you're playing the Unreal, you're going for those condemned kills. You're going to be slugging. You're not going to be using this to slow the game down. You want some other slowdown to buy you time, let you get those Moris. If you're playing somebody like Pyramid Head and you end up caging a lot, not going to get a lot of value out of this perk. So definitely benefits from a mobile killer because then you can get to the gens to kick them before they pop, and also having some sort of information on which gens are being worked on. Maybe it's barbecue and chili, maybe it's discordance. It could be a number of things. Tinker, any of those perks, maybe a combination of those help you use this perk to its fullest. But it's a good perk. It's one that we definitely would suggest picking up if you don't already have it. But I will say, Clown's one of those that has a couple cool perks, and is very easy to play for beginners. So you might want to just pick up the clown chapter if you don't have it. But Pop is definitely the best of his perks. So I could see just snagging Pop if that is up your alley. We're the kind of guy that doesn't really like kicking gens all that much. We do it when we have to, so we don't use this as often as you'll see it out in the wild. But it definitely is a good perk. So good ones here. We'll show some builds. I know we have some that we can show then at the end, but we'll hop over to the survivor side of things here real quickly. So we have a relatively new perk. New chapter, the alien chapter just launched, so it's not the newest chapter, but pretty stinking new on its own. This is Scavenger. This is one when you're holding Anthony Toolbox, Scavenger activates, and then succeeding a great skill check. While repairing, gains 1 token up to 5. When you reach the maximum tokens, you lose them all, and it recharges your toolbox to full. Then your generator repair speed is 3% slower for 35 seconds. So really what you can do here is dump your toolbox, get those tokens up, get it back, and then you can use it on the next gen. So you can kind of basically chug through some of these generators at hyperspeed. If you're utilizing that 35 seconds to go get an unhook, go to a different gen, whatever it may be, there's some planning involved, but it can be very strong for speeding up gens. The requirement is you do have to bring a toolbox, or you have to take time to go rummage through, and you'll be guaranteed a basic toolbox in that trial. So it at least can get you what you need. So it's a good perk, right? There are a lot of gen perks out there. This one's pretty specific. Some of them are more flexible, like resilience, where if you run it with some other perks, it just boosts speed to everything. And if you're staying injured, which sometimes you're forced to, it just works. So this is one that we don't hate it. It's definitely not trash. It's not a mean perk. I think right now you don't see a ton of it, so we're gonna put that kind of as an off-meta perk. And it's one of those things that gen perks can be nice, but also there's something to be said about just having perks that keep you alive. And if everybody's in the game longer, that doesn't matter if gens take longer. You just have more time to do them. It's kind of a philosophy we subscribe to, but it's an interesting perk. And then our last one we have here, as soon as it decides to pop up for us, is a Cheryl Mason perk, and that is Soul Guard. And we'll hide this here so our little scribblings aren't in the way. But basically, what happens is you gain the endurance status effect for 6 seconds after being healed or having recovered from the dying state. And while cursed by hex, you can fully recover from the dying state. So you have, if there's a hex out there, you can fully recover. You just pick yourself up. You also gain endurance. This works really well in some late game builds where basically, with a combination of some other perks, makes you just automatically be able to escape the endurance status effect. If you get that endurance status effect when the gates are open or they're 99 and people are ready to pop them, you're pretty much out of the game. So it can be real good. And the tough thing is when it comes to perks for picking yourself up off the ground, there's a ton of them. Sometimes you want flip flop, sometimes you want power struggle, sometimes you want tenacity, unbreakable, plot twist. You can only run 4. So you see a lot of the other ones. Also, buckle up works in there as well to be able to use on your teammates. So there's a lot of options for these perks. This used to be very high up on the list. That 2 perk combo of Soul Guard and Unbreakable was just absolutely nasty. You also saw a lot more hexes in the past. They had a lot more strength, and you were dealing with them every game. So you used to see this a lot more. Nowadays, like you see a lot more plot twists and other things. Just don't see as much of this. And I don't think it's as necessary. If you're playing in a Swift, it's always nice to have some anti-slugging perks in the 16 that you have access to. When you're playing solo queue, it's really tough to get maximum value out of this perk. So, with that said, like, could that change with the printing of some new perks? The creation of some new perks? Absolutely. But right now, I think this is just one that it's not meme, it's certainly not trash. I think it's one that just doesn't necessarily have a home right now. So, I think we'll pencil that in as kind of an off meta perk. So, looking at these, our must have is you probably really want pop. These other ones, there are a lot of maybes. Like all these are definitely some maybes, but pop is definitely one you want to have. But we'll go over to some builds here real quick. And we'll also talk a little bit about our boy Clown here. Where's Clowny Boy hiding out? So Clown is the proud owner of Pop, Agoraphobia is kind of a niche perk, but Bamboozle is very good as well. So that's when we say like sometimes we recommend spend these on the chapter and then unlock with blood points. Pop and Bamboozle are very good. You probably want both, though you can grab them in the shrine when they're there. So, or maybe you have some other perks like Superior Anatomy, other things that work relatively similarly, so you don't need this. But that's definitely a route we would go. But if we're really talking about, we got to have something on here. We're talking Overcharge, some of those impossible skill check builds. We like perks like Unnerving Presence, Merciless Storm, Overcharge. Works well on Knight. We'll probably have something similar on Doctor, if we were going to guess. No, we don't have this time. We just have Merciless Storm and Unnerving. But you could absolutely slot Overcharge in here as well. It all depends what flavor of the week we're going with there. So definitely can do that. And then with Pop, Pop's just a solid perk. One killer we really like Pop on is Demo. And with Demo, a lot of times we'll run something like 11 Soda, so we can see the orders of generators are being repaired. We know where to go with Pop, and now we just have a lot of slowdown, and we can get maximum value out of that. So honestly, there's a lot of killers you can throw Pop on. It's just a very solid perk. So we're going to head back to the store, pop up our thoughts one last time here, and then we're going to sign off. But hopefully this was a little bit informational. Hopefully this helps you make some decisions on how to spend those hard-to-earn iridescent shards. And again, I'm Smig. We're on YouTube, trying to get at least 2 videos out a week. We been slacking a little bit, so we're going to try to pump that up here. We're also currently on Twitch, or trying to be Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That schedule's going to change. We might do some bigger chunks, but we love to do viewer requests, educational content, challenges, and things. So hopefully we see you guys sometime in the comments here on stream, or maybe we run into you in the fog. Take care.